Hello and welcome into Eastlake, Ohio. I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler, joined by Adam Jaksa. And it's now time for another week of Out of the Park Baseball, the Lansing Lugnuts and the Lake County Captains tonight. Adam, good to be back and joining you.
Great to have baseball again, Jesse, and always exciting when the Lugnuts come to town to take on the Captains. These two teams have struggled a little bit this year in the Out of Park Baseball League, but the Lugnuts had a lot of success last year in Eastlake, Ohio.
The simulation right now is the Lugnuts record at 27-37, while the Captains are 24-40. But how about our pitching matchup here today?
Yeah, two first-round draft picks from a year ago for both the Indians and Blue Jays organization. You and I talked about him a lot last year. Alek Manoah will go for the Lansing Lugnuts. He spent his time with the Vancouver Canadians, of course, out of West Virginia. And then on the other side, Daniel Espino, the right-hander, was the first-round draft pick last year for the Indians. So pretty nice matchup that we've got here today. May have that classic pitcher's duel with two guys that are really good on the hill.
All right, let's go through our starting lineups. For the Lansing Lugnuts to take on the Captain's ace right-hander Espino, leading off today, it's the center fielder Hunter Steinmetz. Batting second, at second base, it's L.J. Talley. Hitting third, the shortstop Jordan Groshans. Batting fourth, doing the catching, it's Gabriel Moreno. Hitting fifth, DHing today, Phil Clark. Batting sixth at first base, Jake Brote. Hitting seventh in left field, Nick Podcool. Batting eighth in right field, Norberto Obeso. And rounding off the order, batting ninth, the third baseman, Jesus Navarro for the Lugnuts. Steinmetz, Talley, Groshans. Moreno, Clark, and Brote, Podcool, Obeso, and Navarro. Adam, who's a spotlight Lugnuts player for you?
Yeah, I'm looking at another young guy that really had a good season last year with the Lugnuts. That's Gabriel Moreno. Now, he's struggled in the out-of-the-park baseball league this season, so we're hoping he can step it up. And then defensively for him, Jesse, I'm interested to see how he works hand-in-hand with Alek Manoah, two guys that are major prospects for the Blue Jays organization, your battery today out on the field for the Lugnuts.
I love it. So those are your Lansing Lugnuts starting nine, and the cleanup hitter is Gabriel Moreno. He is our Granger cleanup hitter. If he gets a hit during the game, 2 tickets will be donated to a local frontline worker. That is actual fact. If Moreno gets a hit during the simulated out-of-the-park baseball game, we will donate 2 tickets to a local frontline worker here in mid-Michigan. Now on the other side, the Lugnuts Mount Manoah will take on this Lake County Captains starting 9. Marcos Gonzalez leads off, plays shortstop. Batting second at first base, Ulysses Cantu. Hitting third in center field, Will Brennan. Batting fourth, they nicknamed him the Professor, second baseman Brian Rocchio. Hitting fifth, the catcher John Paul Gonzalez. Batting sixth in right field, Clark Scolamiro. Hitting seventh, DHing Zach Weatherford. Batting eighth at third base, Daniel Schneemann. And then rounding off the order, batting ninth in left field, it's Cody Farhat. Gonzalez, Cantu, Brennan, Rocchio, Gonzalez, Scolamiro, Weatherford, Schneemann, and Farhat. Adam Jaksa, your spotlight.
I'm going to keep it consistent, go with the cleanup hitter for the Lake County Captains, the Professor, as you deemed him, and he's been deemed before, Brian Rocchio, the guy that I'm looking for in their lineup, the cleanup hitter playing second base today for the Captains.
And with that, Let's get things going. There, the captain set up defensively. Hunter Steinmetz has already started this game with a base hit. Steinmetz on at first with a leadoff single. And that means that Espino is now going to take on LJ Talley. Talley batting from the left side. And Adam, as we continue to note, check out the facial hair. Talley once again going with a little bit of a beard. The mustache carefully crafted, waxed at both ends against the bearded Espino.
He's looking great, as always.
Yes, he is. All right, we're ready to resume from Classic Park. Steinmetz a threat to steal. The 1-0 hit high and deep to right field. Back goes Scolamiro. At the wall, he makes the catch. And at first base, Steinmetz a couple of hard steps towards second. He goes right back to first as the throw comes in. Boy, that ball was given a ride.
Yeah, and LJ Talley, the leader on this Lugnuts team with Jake Broad and home runs in out-of-the-park baseball. He has 3 this season, and that was right there. Looked like it was going to be a 2-run shot to get this game going, but just didn't quite get over the wall.
Here's another player with a lot of power. Jordan Groshans. Runner takes off. The pitch is inside. Throw down to second base. Not in time. Hunter Steinmetz picks up his 5th steal of the simulated season. And he's in scoring position. Count of 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, they love that about Hunter Steinmetz. He can play the outfield so well, covers ground right to left, can lay out, and then also he's speedy on the base paths. And now he's in scoring position for one of the best contact hitters that the Lugnuts have.
Groshans has driven in 14 runs in 28 games. On 1-2, he goes down on strikes. A slider from Espino. 2 away in the top of the first. That brings up our Granger cleanup hitter, Gabriel Moreno. Steinmetz at second. A 2-2. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. And down goes Moreno. Back-to-back strikeouts by Espino, and the Lugnuts strand Steinmetz in scoring position. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on. As we go to the bottom of the first inning, the Lugnuts nothing, and Lake County is coming up. Here are the Lugnuts defensively. Moreno back of the dish, receiving Manoa. Broad at first base, Talley at second. Groshans is at short, and Navarro is at third. In the outfield, Nick Podkul making his 2nd career start that Adam and I have seen in the outfield in left. Hunter Steinmetz can really cover some distance in center. And Norberto Obeso, good to see him playing in right field. It'll be Gonzalez, Cantu, and Brennan coming up. Adam, your scouting report on Mount Manoa.
Well, he's a guy that had so much success at West Virginia. He just looks intimidating up there on the hill, Jesse. 6'6", 260, and he can bring it. And the Lugnuts, lucky to have him here this season. Interested to see how he does against the captains. And he's got some pressure with Espino being as highly regarded as him. So I'm going to be interested to watch the matchup within the matchup, Manoa and Espino today.
Let's see how Manoa starts, taking on Marcos Gonzalez, the Lake County shortstop. Count of no balls and 1 strike. On a ground ball hit weakly to the right side. Easy for Jake Broad. Broad to Manoa, and there's 1 gone. Ulysses Cantu is coming up next. We're playing at a Classic Park in East Lake, Ohio. And Adam, you remember Classic Park very well from last year. This is what we would call more of a hitter's park than a pitcher's park.
Now, do I see the lighthouse out in center field? Is that addition still intact here in the designing of Classic Park?
If somebody hits that lighthouse on Lake County, $100, I believe, or maybe it's $1,000 was split between player and fan. Manoa, meanwhile, walks Ulysses Cantu on 4 pitches. There was a Lansing Lugnut who hit that lighthouse with a home run. They did not give anybody any money. Here's Will Brennan batting from the left side, 1 on, 1 gone. And Manoa strikes him out. Alek Manoa went to the curveball for his first K, 2 outs. Now Brian Rocchio from the left. Rocchio lifts one high to left center field into that sky blue sky above. And easily there, Hunter Steinmetz, once the ball comes down. Alek Manoa works around the 1-out walk, and we go to the 2nd inning. No score from Lake County. Shop at the online Nuts and Bolts store for all your Lugnuts merchandise needs. Special deal right now, where if you purchase one of these 4 shirts, 2 tickets will be donated to frontline workers. Go to LansingLugnuts.com, shop at the Nuts and Bolts store. Now we can tell you, too, the Nuts and Bolts store has officially opened up. It reopened this week. It opened up on Monday. So new reduced hours, wear a mask, maximum of 5 people allowed in. But now you can go to Cooley Law School Stadium and gear up and go nuts. We start up the second inning from Lake County. Clark Broden Podcool for the Lugnuts against the captain's right-hander Daniel Espino in a scoreless game. It begins to Phil Clark. Clark scorches one to center field. Brennan moving to his left, tracks it down, and Phil Clark is at number 1. Adam, I felt like Phil just missed that one.
Yeah, it was similar to LJ Tally's, and as we know, Jesse, Classic Park, you mentioned it, it's a hitter's park. You usually see a lot of home runs here, so no surprise. The Lugnuts are putting good swings into these, but just need a little bit more to get those over the wall.
The power-hitting first baseman Jake Brote, now in 0-2, rips a line drive down in left field for a base hit. A dive by the left fielder Farhat. Oh, did Farhat come up with it? No, he short-hopped it. The captains were arguing, but the umpire rules that he trapped the ball in left, and Jake Brote has the Lugnuts' second hit of the game. A 1-out.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Jesse, I think that's about the best that Farhat could do, because that ball from Brote really didn't get much elevation off the ground. It was a low screamer coming towards Farhat, and he did all he could. A nice job to keep it in front of him, but a good swing right there by Brote to pull that down the line.
Brote is a bit of a threat to steal at first base, as Adam and I saw last year. Here's Nick Podcool with 1 out. A 3-1. Swing and a miss. Back pick to first base. Brote got back in.
Yeah, he kind of has that sneaky athleticism, Jesse, both running on the base paths and then how good he was defensively last year at first base. Something that you look at him, you see the size and the power that he's got. That's not the first thing you would think is the speed and athleticism that he also has.
This is a payoff pitch to Nick Podcool. Does Brote run? He does not run, and Podcool goes down on strikes. Third strikeout for Espino. 2 away in the second.
And it looked like he went change up there, and that one looked like it was inside, Jesse. Could have been ball 4, so instead of runners on first and second with 1 out, now just 2 outs and a runner at first.
Well, here's Norberto Obeso, Adam. And in this simulation, he's batting .287 for the Lansing Lugnuts. He's been one of their better hitters. Obeso batting out of a deep crouch from the left side. 2 outs, Brote at first base, and no score in the second. The first offering to Obeso, grounded to the first baseman Cantu, to his own bag, and the Lansing Lugnuts strand a runner for the second consecutive inning. 1.5 complete, scoreless from East Lake, Ohio. To the bottom of the second, the captain's batters, 5, 6, and 7. John Paul Gonzalez, Clark Scolamero, and Zach Weatherford against the intimidating Alec Manoah. Here's the catcher, John Paul Gonzalez. No score. He pops it up out into the infield, high out of the air, and then it's taken out of the air down the first base line by the second baseman, L.J. Talley. 1 up and 1 gone.
Well, that fly ball was...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Jesse, that fly ball was an adventure. It was way up there.
It was interesting to watch Talley communicate with Jake Brote and Gabriel Moreno. All 3 of those guys wanted it. And Talley, out of all of them, we think about Gabriel Moreno, how active he is, how athletic he is. He's shouting out for it. Jake Brote is the biggest of the 3. And yet in the end, there's the more soft-spoken L.J. Talley who took command. Here's Clark Scolamero, batting from the left side, captain's right fielder. And he hits a base hit up the middle. Steinmetz relays it in. Scolamero 1-out single. First hit of the game for the captains. Zach Weatherford steps in. He's batting 7th in the order, DHing today for Lake County. No score, 1 on, 1 gone. Manoah hits the outside corner, called strike 3. Fastball at 92, so it registers here. Alec Manoah with his second strikeout. This is really, Adam, for you and I, it's the first time seeing Manoah, and what a presence he has on the mound.
Yeah, he does. Again, we talked about it, 6'6", 260. And how about the response? Each time, Jesse, he's given up a base runner. Remember, he allowed the walk to Cantu in the first, and now the base hit to Scolomiro here in the second. Both times he's come right back and gotten a strikeout and really got himself back into the groove, which is needed here in a scoreless game early on.
You can see the stats in the bottom left-hand corner. Alek Manoah in the simulation has allowed just 5 earned runs in 48 and 1/3 innings, a 0.93 ERA. Former West Virginia Mountaineer drafted in the first round by the Blue Jays in 2019. Now against the BYU Cougar, Daniel Schneemann. And that ball gets away. A breaking ball bounces off to the left for Moreno, and away to second base goes Scolomiro. 2 balls and no strikes on Daniel Schneemann, batting 8th in the order for the Captains. First time they've had a runner in scoring position. On a ground ball down the first base line, Jake Brodt with a backhand pick, and he takes it himself unassisted. Alek Manoah strands Scolomiro in scoring position, and we are through 2 scoreless complete. We go to the 3rd inning now from East Lake, Ohio. Lansing and Lake County 0-0. Thank you to our partners at Jaksa National Life Insurance for their continued support of Lugnuts Baseball. And as we go to the 3rd inning, here's Adam Jaksa with the call of the game.
All right, thanks, Jesse. No score in the top of the 3rd in East Lake, Ohio. And it's Espino and Manoah, as expected, through 2 innings. Both guys having success on the hill. First-round draft picks from a season ago. Jesus Navarro, Hunter Steinmetz, and LJ Talley, the 3 that'll come to the plate against the right-hander in this 3rd. First pitch to Navarro, lined out towards center field, and it just gets over Rocchio at second. And trying to extend this into 2 bags is Navarro, and he's called out. Well, Jesse, he got a little aggressive there. He just kind of poked it out to center and tried to catch Brennan napping, but Brennan able to come up with a quick throw, and instead of a leadoff single, the Lugnuts commit their first down.
First, Adam, that ball just barely getting over Rocchio. Rocchio almost had it. And then Jesus Navarro was ambitious right out of the batter's box. He was thinking too. But no, Lake County, it was a good recovery by the Captain's defense.
That's the 3rd straight inning, Jesse, that the Lugnuts have had a base hit. Steinmetz in the first, Brodt in the second, and now Navarro here. But like the first 2 innings, the Lugnuts haven't been able to get a run in. Instead, though, base is clear after the throwout. And here is Hunter Steinmetz, who stole a bag and reached with the base hit to open the game. Popped up to left. And this one's still carrying Farhat to his left and makes the catch in the gap. 2 gone. Well, Jesse, that one didn't look like it was going to go as far as what it did, but like we saw from Talley and from Clark's ball, it just kind of kept carrying up in that wind and nearly got all the way back to the warning track.
Fly balls are traveling here today. Something to keep our eye on the game moving forward.
2 outs, bags clear for LJ Talley. No score in this 3rd inning. Righty against lefty. The 3-1 pitch. A bouncer to second. Weakly hit. It's picked up by Espino, and he's able to toss it underhand over to Cantu to get the out. Tricky play right there, kind of in that middle ground between Rocchio and Espino, but Espino makes the out, and the Lugnuts unable to get on the board for a 3rd straight inning. Bottom of the 3rd inning, and it's back to Alek Manoah. So far through 2 innings, a base hit and a walk, all he's allowed with a couple of strikeouts. 9-1-2, Cody Farhat, Marcos Gonzalez, and Ulysses Cantu. The right-hander Cody Farhat into the box for his first at-bat. The 1-0. Tries to bunt it, and it stays fair down the 3rd baseline, but he hit it hard enough that Navarro was able to come up and play it to make the throw and the out.
That is a great job by Jesus Navarro coming in, and then the transfer, getting the ball from his throwing hand and away accurately across the diamond. Well done on a pretty darn good bunt by Farhat.
Yeah, how about the eyes on that bunt, Jesse? A chalk ball right up the line, and usually, and I think Navarro did this, you play that and see if it'll go foul, but it just stayed fair the whole way.
Well, you can't hesitate if you're Jesus Navarro. If you want to wait back on it, you're basically saying, if it's foul, okay. If it's fair, it's a base hit. Navarro made the choice that he was just going to go try to play it and get the runner, and he did so.
So a third straight retired batter for Alek Manoah, the first of this third inning. Back to the top of the card, here's Marcos Gonzalez, who grounded out to Jake Brote. He takes the pitch, called strike 3 on the 2-2 count, and there's the third strikeout for Manoah.
That fastball from Manoah can be so devastating that when he gives you the curveball, batter is helpless. There was nothing Marcos Gonzalez could have done.
So now it's up to Ulysses Cantu. Nobody has scored yet in the bottom of the third at Classic Park. Cantu reached on a walk in his first plate appearance. Here he takes a ball low, and he's walked for a second straight time. So Cantu hasn't been getting the strikes thrown to him by Manoah, and he's on again. 1 on, 2 outs. It's Will Brennan, the 3-hitter, struck out back in the first inning. The 2-2. Swing, and it slices on the ground over to the third. Navarro to his left and throws to first, and he makes the play. So again, the captain's able to get a runner on just as the Lugnuts did, but can't get him in. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left aboard through 3 innings. No score between the captains and the Lugnuts.
And now it's time for the Dean Trailways Baseball Cap Shuffle. Dean Trailways, the bus stops here. So let's bring out the 3 baseball caps for the Lugnuts, pop the Dean Trailways bus onto the middle cap, and shuffle them up. Keep your eye on that bus. Shuffle to the right. Shuffle things to the left side now. Mix it this way, mix it that way. Are you still keeping your eye on the bus? Settle those caps. Is it 1, 2, or 3? Make your choice. It's cap number 1. And that is our Dean Trailways Lansing Lugnuts Baseball Cap Shuffle.
Top of the fourth at Classic Park as we bring you back to East Lake, Ohio. Beautiful evening for baseball. Just above 70 degrees. The sun slowly moving down as we continue on in this game. And Jesse, we talked about it, had the opportunity, we thought, for it to be a pitcher's duel. And although there's been some Lugnuts and captains that have reached, these pitchers have really stood tall when they needed to get those outs and get their team out of the half innings.
What I'm curious about is now that the entire starting lineup for both teams has seen each of these first rounders once all the way through, what adjustments are now made the second time around?
And the second time around brings you Jordan Groshans, Gabriel Moreno, and Phil Clark, 3, 4, and 5, right through the heart of this Lugnuts order where they've been producing, getting them to 27 wins so far this season. The pitch, hit hard down towards third. Schneemann has it, and it looks like he can't make the throw in time as he dropped the ball out of his glove. So he fielded it cleanly, but then it looked, Jesse, on the transfer, he had some problems getting the ball out of his glove, and Groshans is able to beat out the first error of the game.
How unusual is that for Daniel Schneemann? Schneemann, Adam, you and I talked about this. He was one of the best defenders coming out of college, coming out of Brigham Young University, and any kind of offense he gives them is a bonus. They expect him wherever they play him to be an outstanding defensive player. That one was not a very highly above average play. He's got to make that play going to his left.
I remember last year, too, the second half of the season, he had some really good games against the Lansing Lugnuts, and a lot of them came right here at Classic Park. But you're right, known for his defense, can't make the play there, and the Lugnuts have a leadoff man on for their second of 4 innings today. See if Gabriel Moreno can get going, a guy that has struggled this season in simulation, 188, just 5 driven in, and he's struck out over 30 times, including in that first inning. Swings and drills this down the left field line, but sweeping over to make the catch is Farhat. One of those line drive fly balls, and Farhat played it pretty much perfect over there down the line.
He just got jammed. He had the right thought, though. Bring the hands in and yank it toward the foul pole.
Back to first went Groshans, so 1 on, 1 out, and now it's Philip Clark. He had that long fly ball to center in his first at bat as he works against Espino. A hitter's 2-1 count. Swings and takes this the opposite way. Again, going deep towards the warning track, and it's caught once again by Brennan. Boy, 2 really good swings from Phil Clark out to center field. That ball twisting up in the air, and it's a long second out.
Adam, I like the talent that we're seeing from the Lugnuts with regard to the Blue Jays organization in catching. Last year, we got to see Alejandro Kirk and Gabby Moreno. And in this game, we're seeing Gabriel Moreno. And then the next player down, the 9th rounder, Philip Clark. Just more indication of that great catching depth, not just offensive, but impact offensive talent.
Yeah, you can tell. They've all got pop as well. And we saw that from Kirk first, as you mentioned. Moreno had some excellent swings, and Clark displaying his power. Not quite enough in this game, but 2 really good swings, good contacts. That'll lead it up to another guy that's got some good pop in his bat. Jake Brote had the base hit earlier, 1 of 3 for the Lugnuts against Espino. That's with 2 outs and Groshans on first. First pitch is sent out to center. Brennan over to his left. And that'll do it for the Lugnuts in this 4th inning. So some good swings from Moreno, Clark, and Brote right through the heart of the order, but all caught in the outfield. And that'll get us to the bottom of the 4th. Still 0-0 between the captains and the Lugnuts. No score as we bring you back for the bottom of the 4th. Alek Manoah, the first-round draft pick for the Blue Jays out of West Virginia. He's been cruising, 3 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, just 2 walks. He'll face 4, 5, and 6, Brian Rocchio, John Paul Gonzalez, and Clark Scolamiro as we get going for the last of this 4th inning. Righty against the lefty, and this is clubbed down the first baseline off 1 hop. Brote with another great pick over there on the corner of the diamond, Jesse.
Jake Brote, soft hands, trying to figure out this infield. They were doing some extra infield drills before this game, trying to figure out what kind of bounces to expect, how fast the ball would be. Would the ball come off that ground true? And Jake Brote was ready as that ball came skipping toward him.
Yeah, and if you remember watching that drill, Jesse, Jake Brote was one of the most consistent Lugnuts out there, fielding those ground balls and taking those hops. Again, as we've continued to note over the last year and a half, he is just mechanically solid defensively over at first base. John Paul Gonzalez's turn with 1 out, nobody out in the bottom of the 4th. First pitch from Manoah. Skied out to right. Backing up is Obeso. He'll have room. Now he takes a couple of steps in, and he snatches for the 2nd out. So far, so good in this 4th inning for Manoah. Clark Scolamiro standing in the way of a quick 1-2-3 half inning. The 1-0 pitch. Swing, and it's hit hard. Brote to his right. He's got another one and tags the bag himself. Excellent defensive work from Jake Brote. A 3rd unassisted play at the bag, and Manoah with that 1-2-3 4th inning. After 4, no score between the Lugs and the captains from Classic Park. Back for the top of the 5th, I'll send it back to Jesse Goldberg-Strassler.
Adam, thank you very much. Podcool, Obeso, and Navarro coming up here in the top of the 5th inning. 7-8-9, out of the park baseball. It's a simulated game. This is what they've been using, Baseball Reference, ESPN, all sorts of different areas, folks, simulating this 2020 season until baseball resumes. And considering the status of how everything is, we don't know when baseball will be played once again. So we get to watch these 2020 simulated Lansing Lugnuts with Nick Podcool against the first rounder Daniel Espino. Podcool takes ball 4. 4-pitch walk to open up the top of the 5th inning. Norberto Obeso is coming up next. Adam, we might not have baseball games, but we did have a Major League Baseball draft over the course of last weekend. Last week, stretching through the undrafted free agent signings on Sunday. So we got ourselves a taste of baseball.
Yeah, it was good to see, and especially that, as you mentioned it, this draft was different than what we had seen before. 5 rounds, and then you've got the free agent signings after up to $20,000. So it was really unique. Once you get past those first rounds, these signings are going to be key for teams to try and steal some very good and talented players.
Norberto Obeso signed out of Mexico, grounds into a 4-6-3 double play, and that erases Nick Podkul from the base paths. Jesus Navarro is coming up, 2 outs, nobody on, and no score in the top of the 5th inning. It's going to be interesting to see. With the signings, who works out? Are more signings announced? But we'll talk about the players that the Blue Jays drafted and signed. Right now, though, 2 outs, nobody on. Let's see what happens with Jesus Navarro against Espino. A 1-0 pitch, shot through the middle. A base hit to center. Navarro is on. He is 2 for 2 in this game. His first time up, he tried to stretch a single into a double. This time wisely stays at first base, and the lineup turns over for Hunter Steinmetz.
Yeah, he's really been producing down, turning that lineup over, Jesse. Those 2 base hits, clutch hitting from Navarro, and hopefully that can fuel something from the top of the order to get our first run of this game.
Steinmetz out of Missouri State against Espino, count of 1-2. He swings, grounds towards short. Right there, Marcos Gonzalez throws over to first base, and Cantu, what a scoop at the bag. Down goes Steinmetz and the Lansing Lugnuts in the top of the 5th inning. We'll talk about the Blue Jays draftees, including perhaps, did they get the best player in the whole draft coming up in the bottom of the 5th inning? Lugnuts and captains, no score. You're listening and you're watching Lansing Lugnuts Out of the Park Simulated Baseball. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, Alek Manoah back to the mound to take on Weatherford, Schneemann, and Farhat for the Lake County captains. Right now, Manoah, 53 pitches to get through 4 innings. 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Here against Weatherford, the DH. Weatherford lines a base hit to center field. Steinmetz quickly on hand to hold him to a single. Second hit allowed by Manoah. Now, Alek Manoah was the 2019 first rounder of the Toronto Blue Jays. And then the Jays lost over 90 games. So in 2020, the Jays had the number 5 pick in the draft. And Adam, going into the draft, it was considered that there were 2 great players, right? There's Austin Martin and there's Spencer Torkelson. Martin that do everything, play anywhere, great hitter from Vanderbilt. And Torkelson, the slugger out of Arizona State. You put him at third, you put him at first. Really, you want to put him in the meat of your order and let him pound. The Tigers are drafting first. After them, the Orioles, the Marlins, the Royals. There's no way that one of those 2 guys would get down to Toronto at the number 5 pick, right?
Wrong.
Wrong is right.
Well, and Jesse, it was easily one of the biggest surprises, I think.
Daniel Schneemann pops it up on the right side. Easy for Tally, 1 down.
I mean, the fact that you had mentioned it, it looked like Austin Martin, after the Tigers, they were pretty well set from everything that you're reading. They were going to take Torkelson, trying to get that power bat and corner infielder, and they got him. But then after that, you got multiple chances, and Martin falls to the Jays.
Manoah strikes at Cody Farhat. That is his 4th strikeout. 2 gone in the bottom of the 5th inning. Torkelson going number 1 to the Tigers, and then the Orioles took Heston Herstad, who is considered maybe the number 10 overall prospect. Good power guy. Let's not take that away from him, but not Martin. And then pitchers, Max Meyer from Minnesota going 3, and going 4 went Asa Lacy, the great southpaw from Texas A&M. And so the Blue Jays snatched up Martin. Here's Marcos Gonzalez. Gonzalez lifts one high in the air, medium depth left field. Dr. Podkul comes over. And out of Notre Dame, Nick Podkul the catch. Side retired. Zach Weatherford's leadoff single is stranded. So Austin Martin, drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays 5th overall. You could make the case that he is now the new number 1 prospect in the organization. We're going to the 6th inning. No score from Classic Park. Thank you to our partners at Farm Bureau Insurance for their continued support of Lugnuts Baseball. As we start up the 6th inning, the Lansing Lugnuts will have their 2, 3, and 4 batters in LJ Talley, Jordan Groshans, and Gabriel Moreno. And again, it remains the Lake County first rounder, Daniel Espino, on the mound. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. And matching goose eggs against Alec Manoah. Against LJ Talley first. The Georgia Bulldog rips one to right field. That gets down in front of Scolomiro. A base hit for LJ. Scolomiro fires it in. LJ Talley now 1 for 3 today. A leadoff single in the 6th.
This now becomes the next part of this game, the back half, Jesse, of 1, how long do these two starters stay in? And then 2, what does the bullpen do to back up the great performances that we've seen from both the right-handers, Espino and Manoah?
Hey, you'd figure at some point that this would become a bullpen battle, Adam. Right now, though, Espino only at 66 pitches. Manoah's not utilized that many pitches either. Here's Jordan Groshans. Groshans lines a base hit to left field. Around second base and holding up right there is Talley. Throw comes into third. Back-to-back singles, Talley and Groshans. Oh, by the way, talking about the first rounder, Martin. How about Jordan Groshans, the first rounder of the Toronto Blue Jays as well back in 2018, making his presence felt. He's now 1 for 3.
You think there's some talent at the shortstop position in the Blue Jays org, Jesse?
I do indeed. We'll see where Austin Martin plays, though they drafted him as a shortstop. There's Kevin Smith. There's Logan Warmoth. Warmoth also a first-rounder. You and I saw Leo Jimenez at the very tail end of last year, and there's a guy named Aurelvis Martinez that a lot of folks are talking about. Gabriel Moreno now. Grounds toward short. Oh, this could be 2. And the great breakup slide at second base by Groshans. Rocchio could not get it out of his glove, so Moreno reaches first. All the while, Talley takes third. They stay out of the double play. Runners are at the corners with one man gone.
Well, in a game that has not produced any runs, you think that this one is going to come down to 1 or 2 runs. Something as minuscule as that slide, Jesse, from Groshans to break up that double play and give the Lugnuts an opportunity at perhaps a sack or a type of bunt squeeze situation, or maybe just a base hit, that could be a huge key in the outcome of this game.
Here is Philip Clark. Can Clark come through? No score in the 6th. The 1-1 pitch. High in the air to center field. Now this should be deep enough to bring Talley in. It's caught by Brennan. Talley's coming home, and they're not even going to try to stop him. He crosses standing. Sack fly Philip Clark. 1-0 Lansing Lugnuts as Moreno stays at first base.
Well, there you go. The slide first from Groshans to break up that double play allows the opportunity for a sack. Clark staying very consistent today. All 3 of his balls have been flied out to center field, and that one just deep enough to get the LJ Talley run scored, and the Lugnuts are on the board.
2-out chance now for Jake Brodt. Runner takes off. The pitch is low. Throw down to second base is not in time. Gabriel Moreno ahead for a slide. Picks up his first stolen base of the year. Jake Brodt is 1 for 2. A single in the 2nd and a fly out to center field in the 4th inning. At 0-2 pitch. He swings, grounds toward short. Backhanded by Marcos Gonzalez. Long throw to get him at first base. Side retired. But the Lansing Lugnuts draw first blood. Leadoff singles by Talley and Groshans, and 2 batters later, Clark the sac fly. 1 runner left stranded through 5.5. 1-0 Lugnuts at Classic Park. Alec Manoah back to the mound, 64 pitches deep, 5 scoreless innings. And now the big right-hander to take on Lake County's Cantu, Brennan, and Rocchio. But with a lead now to his back for the first time today against the 2-3-4 hitters for the Lake County Captains. With Adam Jaksa, I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler. I'm glad to have you along with us for Out of the Park Baseball with the Lansing Lugnuts. It begins with Ulysses Cantu, who has walked twice. This time swings away, grounds toward third. Jesus Navarro puts it in his pocket. He's looking at a very dangerous long throw. Decided, you know what? Discretion, the better part of valor. An infield single for Cantu, who's now reached base all 3 times.
Yeah, and I think there was some decision-making between Navarro and Groshans. Who was the one that wanted to end up taking it? It was kind of that slower roller deep in the hole. And by the time Navarro made the choice, I think he did the right decision, Jesse. Just hold on to it and not create a potential single turning into an extra base.
There's that potential game-tying run now aboard for Lake County. And the batter's Will Brennan. Brennan elevates one to center. Routine for Hunter Steinmetz, trotting left. Reaches up, makes the catch. No tag and advance by Cantu. One gone. Told you the first rounder was for the Toronto Blue Jays and Austin Martin. Their second rounder was an ace out of Florida State University named C.J. Van Eyck. Cornelius Johannes Van Eyck. And Adam, if you remember, another player with abbreviated initials, P.K. Morris at the very end of last year, won the home run derby in the crosstown showdown. He and C.J. Van Eyck were high school teammates. Brian Rocchio, the batter, again a fly ball to center field. Again, Hunter Steinmetz going back on it, back into his left, reaches out and hauls it in. That one was taking off, but he nabbed it on the warning track and Cantu back to first.
That's one of the best swings we've seen from a captain's batter today off of Manoah as that pitch count nears 80, starting to probably give a little bit. And that'll be something that the coaching staff will have to keep an eye on. Again, how long does Manoah go?
Can he get through 6 scoreless innings? A 3-1. Missed inside to John Paul Gonzalez. He's laboring. And that is Alek Manoah's 3rd walk of the game. First walk issued to a player not named Ulysses Cantu. Cantu to second, Gonzalez to first. Clark Scolamiro coming up, 2 on, 2 out, 1-0 the Lugnuts lead. Scolamiro is 1 for 2. He had the first hit of the game against Manoah back in the 2nd inning. A single up the middle. Batting left. And this one gets away from Moreno. Moreno has to get back to the backstop to pick it up. Both runners move up. Cantu to third and Gonzalez to second. Now the official score is called passed ball and Gabby Moreno. So a wild pitch earlier, a passed ball now. Tenuous spot. First base is open. Tying runners at third. Go-ahead runners at second. A single by Scolamiro could give Lake County the lead. 2-1 pitch. Hit him! Manoah drills Scolamiro in the back, and the bases are loaded.
Well, he is certainly making it interesting right now. After the Lugnuts gave him that first run on the sac fly from Clark, you've now given up a base hit, a walk, been a passed ball, and now hit a batter. And all of a sudden, a golden opportunity right here for the captains.
Adam, the Lugnuts manager Luis Hurtado is going to the bullpen. And Ryan Mason is coming in for Alek Manoah. So Manoah's day is done after 5 2/3 innings. He could not get that 3rd out here in the 6th.
You hope Mason can keep his line for how well he pitched, Jesse. This is a big, big moment in this game.
2 inherited runners. Zach Weatherford, you can see the stats in the bottom right, batting just .207 this year with 1 homer. Can Ryan Mason get him? Bases loaded. 2-1 pitch. It's due. Mason deals. Ground ball left side, tough play Navarro. Throws to second. They get the force out on Scolamiro, and the side retired. Jesus Navarro plugging it to his left, grabbed it. He maybe only had 2 options at first for a long throw or the short throw, but a close play at second. He flipped it over to LJ Talley, and Talley beats Scolamiro to the bag. That strands 3. Bases left loaded. 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 hit batter, no runs. Alek Manoah 5 2/3 scoreless as Ryan Mason gets the job done. And the Lugnuts are bringing a 1-0 lead to the top of the 7th. Big time stuff. As we end the 6th inning, it is time for some trivia presented by LaughQ. Fans, you can enter to win great Lugnuts prizes by answering today's trivia question presented by LaughQ. And it goes as following. 2016 Lugnuts outfielder Connor Panis was so inspired by the movie Step Brothers, he taught himself how to do what? Here we go. A, sing opera. B, play the drums. Or C, open his own company called Prestige Worldwide. Which one of those was Connor Panis inspired to do by the movie Step Brothers? Go to www.milb.com/Lansing/fans/contests to answer and enter. We go to the 7th inning in a 1-0 game. And back for the call is Adam Jaksa.
All right, thanks so much, Jesse. And interesting is Alek Manoah gets pulled for the Lugnuts. They do continue with Daniel Espino in this game. And right now, he continues to do well. Did give up that first hit and run, or first couple of hits in the same inning, and the run in the sixth. He'll face Podcool, Obeso, and Navarro. Bottom third of the order, Lugnuts up by a run in the seventh. 1-2 pitch. And that is in there for called strike three. Came right across the inner half of the plate, and Podcool couldn't swing at it.
Adam, now the call to the bullpen. Just one batter, and that does it for Espino. Lake County is calling in the southpaw.
Oh, pretty good outing there for Espino as he goes 6 1/3, gets 4 strikeouts. Did give up the run in the sixth with 6 base hits rather. But you're right. Now a lefty on the hill. Antonio Pujols will take the mound for the Captains. 3-2 count coming up to Obeso. Side bender comes in just off the edge of the plate. Ball 4.
Good at bat. And Obeso, good speed at first base. That does it for Pujols. Alex Royalty was ready for ready in the bullpen, and apparently Lake County is just playing the percentages. Lefty, now righty. You won't be able to do this at the Major League Baseball level. They're trying to legislate this out of the game.
You have to face at least 3 batters is now the new minimum in Major League Baseball, but Minor League Baseball still allowing it as of now, or at least out of the park baseball simulation allowing it, as we get ready for the first batter face for Royalty. It'll be the 9-hitter, Jesus Navarro. He smacks it on the ground. It kind of dies in the grass. Picked up by Cantu. He'll run it to the bag for the second out.
Royalty was a pitcher that, Adam, you and I saw as a starting pitcher for the Lake County Captains against the Lugnuts.
And he comes out of the bullpen today. Someone that potentially could go a couple of innings with that starting rotation experience. And again, in a tightly contested game, this now turns to both the Lugnuts and the Captains' bullpens as they're being relied upon to try and close out this game. Obeso at second, Steinmetz to the plate, and he clubs this out just into right center field. It's down for a hit. Brennan to his left to field it. Here comes Obeso around third. The throw gets away, and the Lugnuts score on the RBI single from Hunter Steinmetz to make it 2-0.
Hunter Steinmetz coming through. Great defense, and now clutch offense on that line shot.
So good pressure put on by the Lugnuts. A run in the sixth, and now they've tacked on another in the seventh. And with Steinmetz advancing to second on the wild throw towards home plate, you've got good speed there with LJ Talley at the plate. 2-2 on the ground to first, and Cantu will run it to the bag himself for the third out. But the Lugnuts, after a walk, get an RBI single from Steinmetz. They push in another run and have doubled up their lead as we hit the stretch. 2-0 Lansing, bottom of the seventh, next from East Lake, Ohio. Well, the organ player with a great rendition, Jesse, of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Great to hear that song again, isn't it?
This is an old school night in Lake County, Ohio. They don't usually have the organ out. They brought the organ out today, and it really is setting the feel.
You know, I think they brought the organ out just because the Lugnuts were in town, so credit them there. Lansing is built upon that 2-0 lead as they've had runs in the sixth and in the top of this half inning in the seventh. Going to the bullpen, Ryan Mason came in to get that crucial third out with the bases loaded in that sixth inning, replacing Alek Manoah. And now potentially pitch his first full inning. Schneemann, Farhat, and Gonzalez, 8, 9, and 1, coming up to the plate. Righty on lefty with Daniel Schneemann, the 1-0. This is sent the opposite way down the left field line, and playing it perfectly is Podcool inching up to make the catch. 1 down.
Adam, I don't know about you, but when I consider organs in baseball, the sounds of the organ at the ballpark, I think about a lazy Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely. Kind of puts you in that type of mood. And that's really the type of mood that the Lugnuts have put these captain hitters in, where they just haven't been able to do anything. Now, a lot of that is to the credit of Alek Manoah, but Ryan Mason has continued that. One out, and here's Cody Farhat. A 2-0 hitters count. Swings and sends this one deep out to left. Again, Podcool playing it well, and he's got another fly ball catch.
Think about the hard hit contact that we've seen. There was last inning, was it Will Brennan who really got into one to center? And beyond that, Lake County has not hit the seams ever. They just have not hit anything square, first against Manoah and now against the reliever Mason.
Yeah, Brennan, the only real chance we saw for the captains to potentially get one out of here. The Lugnuts have had a few good swings, and 3 of them, in fact, have come from Phil Clark. But 2 outs now and a couple of lazy fly balls to left. Marcos Gonzalez steps in. Bouncer to second. Tally to his left, makes the play. And a nice 1-2-3 inning in the first full half inning for Ryan Mason, the right-hander, out of the pen. Through 7, it's the Lugnuts 2, the Captains nothing from out of park baseball from Classic Park.
Did you know that in the Lansing Lugnuts 24 seasons, the Lugnuts have won 2 championships and been in the Midwest League Championship Series 2 other times? Those championships coming in 1997 over Kane County and in 2003 over the Beloit Snappers, a Beloit Snappers team that included Prince Fielder. 2 championships for the Lugnuts in their seasons, plus 2 other trips. I'm trying to make it a 3rd championship when next they play. That is your Did You Know?
For the final couple of innings, we'll send it back to Jesse Goldberg-Strassler for the play-by-play.
Adam, I appreciate that. Jordan Groshans, Gabriel Moreno, and Phil Clark coming up against the right-hander Alex Royalty, who winds and throws. Groshans takes ball 4. 5-pitch walk for Grosh to open up the 8th inning. There was a great article about Groshans that just came out, released by Arden Zwelling via Sportsnet. Did you catch a look at that yet?
I have not gotten a peek at that. I did see that yesterday, though.
I commend everyone. Check out that article. Gabriel Moreno goes down on strikes. That is tough off the outside corner, and he chased. Moreno's second time striking out today. 1 away in the top of the 8th inning. It breaks down Jordan Groshans from high school all the way up until now. Says he's healthy, he's confident, even through last year's weird injury. Groshans takes off, the pitch down low, throw down to second base, and Jordan is out. Thrown out by John Paul Gonzalez. Base stealing, not really part of Groshans' game. Everything else, especially hitting, big time part of it. 2 outs and the bases wiped clean. The other article that came out over the weekend, that it has a paywall because it's The Athletic, but it's all about Otto Lopez, written by John Lott. A 1-2 for Phil Clark. Little lofter, shallow right, second baseman Rocchio out. He retrieves, and the Lansing Lugnuts go down. A walk, but nobody left on. 7.5 complete. Read about those, Jordan Groshans and Otto Lopez, Sportsnet and The Athletic. As we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, 2-0 Lugnuts. Lansing manager Luis Hurtado sticks with Ryan Mason. 1 1/3 for Mason so far. He's set up 4 down. 4 batters up against him, and not one is reached. Takes on Ulysses Cantu to start up the 8th inning. Cantu scorches one to left field. Nick Podcool on hand to reach up and flag it down. Like an ultimate Frisbee player, right? Running at full speed, you race over, and the ball greeted him on a line. So that's now 5 up and 5 down for Lake County against Mason, although that ball was hit on the seams.
Yeah, Nick Podcool showing that he's capable of playing the outfield. You look at the rating for him in the outfield, a 25 on the scale. But I tell you what, the 2 games that we have followed and watched, he's done a nice job out there in the corner of the outfield.
Alek Manoah, the first 5 2/3. Mason now out of the pen, 2-0 Lugnuts. The defense has been significant. Will Brennan lines one to left field. Podcool can't get there. That's all the way in the alleyway, going to the wall. Podcool to chase it down on the warning track. Brennan holds up at second base as Podcool gets it in. That is the first extra base hit today for Lake County, and it's a one-out double.
That's our first extra base hit of the game. For as hitter-friendly as this ballpark is, and really friendly to the home runs, surprising, and it shows how well the pitchers have done in this game that it took until the 8th inning to get that first big swing from either team.
Well, you mentioned the home runs that are the potential. Ryan Rocchio, the professor, stepping in. Cleanup hitter for Lake County, representing the potential game-tying run. It's one high in the air to deep left center. Podkuhl over, center fielder Steinmetz there too. Steinmetz tracks it down to the gap. He gets it in, all the while Brennan tags and advances over to third base. A very deep flyout by Rocchio. That supplies the second out of the home 8th. And now John Paul Gonzalez, the Lake County catcher, batting 5th. Can the Lugnuts hang another goose egg up there on the scoreboard? Gonzalez pops it up. Shallow center. Steinmetz charging in. There to make the catch. The inning has come to an end. It is another 0. Brennan left stranded 90 feet away, and we go to the 9th inning from Classic Park. It is Lansing 2, Lake County nothing. Thank you to our partners at Gordon Food Service for their continued support of Lansing Lugnuts baseball. We appreciate it mightily. As we start up the 9th inning, the Lansing Lugnuts will have these 3 batters due. Brote, Podkuhl, and then Obeso taking on Alex Royalty. It begins with Jake Brote. Lugnuts looking for some insurance. Adam Jaksa is by my side, and I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler. This is right-hander against right-hander. Brote takes ball 4 off the outside corner. Leadoff walk for the Lansing Lugnuts and another base runner. Adam, the Lugnuts right now, any run would help make this just a little bit more comfortable.
And they did a good job in the 6th. And then after following up their first run in the 6th, building that with a run in the 7th. And it's been the walks predominantly the last few innings. They've drawn a walk per inning over the last 3 frames. So they've done a nice job keeping an eye, although these pitchers have been tough to face here for the captains.
You mentioned it. Only 1 extra base hit in the game came from Brennan last frame on the double. Nick Podkuhl looks at a called strike 3. That's the 3rd time he struck out today. Fine game in the field for Nick, but not a great game at the home plate area. 1 down for Norberto Obeso, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. He scored the 2nd Lugnuts run, came in 2 frames ago on the Hunter Steinmetz single. 1-2. Down on strikes. Back-to-back Ks for Royalty. Now Jesus Navarro, Brote at first base, 2 outs. New pitcher in, Nate Ocker for the captains. A ground ball up the middle, Gonzalez fields, ranging left. The underhander Rocchio at second, Brote forced. And we are going to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Lugnuts are looking to complete the shutout. Let's see, did the Lugnuts go back to the bullpen? 2-0 Lansing. Captains bring up Scolamero, Weatherford, and Schneemann. 6, 7, 8 in the order. We will be wary of pinch hitters. And Adam, in fact, the Lugnuts do go to the pen. How about the stats put up this year by the right-hander, Steven Wilson?
Yeah, he's done tremendous through 22 innings pitched, just 11 hits, only 5 walks comparable to the 30 strikeouts, an ERA of 1.64. He's been a guy that the Lugnuts can rely on late, and you like their chances with the confidence that he brings, and especially with the way the defense has played today with a 2-run advantage.
Clark Scolamero is the first man up. Batting left, outfield deep. A ground ball shot to Talley at second. He is right there to vacuum, and there's 1 gone.
You really feel confident about the right side of the infield. Both Talley and Brote are so good defensively. It certainly helps when you get a ball put on the ground on that side of the infield.
Third baseman Navarro now hugging the line. It is a big leg kick that Wilson utilizes. Zach Weatherford hits one high in the air to left, but this won't have enough carry. It's Nick Podkuhl back and to his left, making the catch. And the Lansing Lugnuts have the captains down to their final out of the game. It is Daniel Schneemann standing in the way of the Lugnuts and the victory. Wilson with the sign. Wilson with the pitch. Shot up the middle and a base hit to center just outside the reach of Talley. Steinmetz gets it in. Schneemann with a 2-out single.
Well, you got to give the captains credit. They have to be extremely frustrated at the plate today. You only have 5 hits from them, the 1 extra base hit, 3 walks. But they've been silenced by the Lugnuts pitching, but here they are with an opportunity still to tie this game in the 9th.
Lake County has had its chances. They stranded the bases loaded in the 6th. Last inning, they left a runner at third base. And now here in the bottom of the 9th inning, a pinch hitter for the captains, Austin Pinarini, stepping in from the left side against Steven Wilson. Schneemann at first base runs well. It is Pinarini representing the potential game-tying run. A 1-ball pitch from Wilson. Line drive caught by third baseman Navarro right back of his bag. This ball game is over. The Lansing Lugnuts have shut out the captains 2-0.
When you think about it, there are lots of reasons to buy a new home. And with mortgage rates this low at LAFCU, it's all you need to make your move. Because you may not have the space for anything else, but there's always room for a great mortgage rate from LAFCU. Want a low mortgage rate for your new home? Ask for LAFCU. Stop in today or go to LAFCU.com/mortgage. LAFCU, your credit union for life.
Well, Adam, we head right into the postgame show. The Lansing Lugnuts improved their record to 28-37, while the captain's record falls to 24-41. And I know we're going to talk about how those runs scored, but we have to start because it's a 5-hit shutout with the Lugnuts pitching today.
Yeah, we talked about it from the top about how this game could be low scoring with 2 former first rounders from a season ago in the Indians and Blue Jays organization. When you talk about Alek Manoah, Jesse, he was fantastic, just as expected. 5 2/3, gave up just 3 hits. Did have the 3 walks that were scattered around, but 4 strikeouts. He started to bend a little bit in that 6th inning. Bases were loaded, but give credit, Ryan Mason followed up behind him to get him out of the jam and then worked some middle relief, and then Steven Wilson came in to shut it out. So all in all, a team effort from the pitching staff today. Manoah, Mason, and Wilson, tremendous to help the Lugnuts get a shutout of this captain's offense.
Alek Manoah's ERA is now at 0.86. That's pretty good. We talked about the first-rounder against first-rounder matchup. He outduels Daniel Espino, who only allowed 1 run in 6 1/3 innings. Let's go right back to how that run was scored for the Lansing Lugnuts. The Lugnuts pushed that run across in the top of the 6th inning. L.J. Talley and Jordan Groshen's back-to-back singles. And then Adam, potentially the key play of the game on a Gabriel Moreno ground ball. Moreno's grounder hit towards short, and it turned into a fielder's choice, a breakup slide at second base, and that kept the Lugnuts out of the double play. The next batter, Phil Clark, it would have been a flyout to end the inning. As it was a sac fly, and Talley came in, and the Lugnuts led 1-0.
Yeah, big stuff from Jordan Groshen. Sometimes, Jesse, in a game like this where runs are coming at a premium, you're not scoring much, sometimes it's not the hit that wins the game. It's the little stuff, and that was something that the Lugnuts needed, that slide from Jordan Groshen's to avoid the double play and give them an opportunity to get one of the 2 runs that were scored in this game.
And an insurance run the very next inning for the second run. Hunter Steinmetz, the RBI single, plating Norberto Obeso. That made it 2-0. And that would be your final score. Adam, we've got 2 things to name. The first thing is our player of the game. The second thing is our base hit of the game. So let's go through it. Let's begin with our Lansing Lugnuts player of the game.
Well, not a ton of offense in this one and not a ton of hits overall. So I think it's clear you go to the pitching, and I got to go with Alek Manoah. I mean, we talked about him a lot, a guy that we were excited to see, the 6'6", 260-pounder out of West Virginia. He lived up to the filling today. 5 2/3, no runs, got out of the jam a couple of times, worked around walks, 4 strikeouts, and he certainly put the Lugnuts in good position to win this one. And eventually the bats did come through later, and they pulled it out.
Mount Manoah, our Lansing Lugnuts player of the game. Now, how about our Lugnuts hit of the game?
Well, I could go sack fly here, but it's not technically a hit. So we'll go with the other run producing at bat, which was a base hit from Hunter Steinmetz. And insurance is always key, Jesse. A 1-run game is a little bit better. You feel more comfortable being up by 2 runs. So the insurance base hit RBI from Hunter Steinmetz in that 7th inning, right after they scored in the 6th, that scored Norberto Abeso from second, will be the hit of the game.
There you see our pitching stats. Now let's show you the hitting stats for this game. 2 hits apiece for Hunter Steinmetz and Jesus Navarro, and then 1 hit apiece, Tally Groshans and Jake Broden. And all of those hits, all 7 of them, were singles. So your final totals: 2 runs on 7 hits, no errors for the Lansing Lugnuts, stranded 7 runners on the base paths. For Lake County on the other side, no runs, 5 hits, 2 errors, and the captains stranded 9 runners on. They had chances. The Lugnuts made sure that they did not cash in. Lansing 28-37, the captains 24-41 in this out-of-the-park baseball simulation season as we follow things through. Adam, Jaksa, any final thoughts?
No, just really enjoyed this today from the Lugnuts. I thought it was a complete performance. Some of these lower scoring games, you see some key and pivotal moments, and the Lugnuts, it started pitching today. They got those timely hits and timely plays offensively when they needed them, and it was just enough. Really was impressed, though, from Manoah, Mason, and Wilson, setting the tone today and a nice road victory at Classic Park.
Sure was. Well, until next week when we'll do this again, we thank you so much for joining us. For Adam, Jaksa, I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler, and go Nuts!